Koen. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. That so many times when we're in these spaces, we oftentimes forget to really sit back and have difficult and challenging conversations with ourselves, right? And so, in this particular session, we're really going to talk about our own motivations. Like, how do we become inclusive and empowered leaders, empowering our staff, empowering our teams, if we haven't done the work ourselves. So we'll talk a little bit about how we start to like look at that work and do that work. And so first, I'd like to kind of start off with having a conversation about this notion of our core motives. Like, ultimately, what are we after as individuals? So we are constantly looking for significance, we're looking for belonging, and we're looking for safety. Right. And so that significance is a powerful motivator, core value, because it asks the answer, it begs the answer, what is my purpose on this earth, right? What is my purpose in this organization? What is my purpose in this particular group that I'm a part of? And so we're constantly striving to find the answer to that question. And all too often, folks who sometimes think that external things can fill that void, right? That can give you or provide you the answer. Sometimes people go to oracles, they go to soothsayers, if you will, individuals who they believe can give them the answer to what their significance is. And I would suggest that there's probably two primary ways in which we find or get our significance, which is that we can align ourselves with what the universe has for us, right? And so be in line with that. The other thing is that we can actually determine what kind of person I want to be. What kind of person do I wish what kind of human being do I want to be? What kind of legacy do I want to live and leave? And so when we think about this notion of significance, it is the recognition that I am a person with purpose and power. And whether that purpose and power is revealed to me, through the universe or God, or if I decide what that is, but I do have some significance. I serve a purpose. I can offer things. And for some of us, just being is enough, right? Just being, a human being is enough. Next is that we want to belong to networks, to communities, be in relationships with people who understand our significance. And sometimes it's our families of choice that understand our significance, sometimes even more than our family of birth, right? And so when we think about this belonging, we're really challenging ourselves to think about, how do I either create an environment of inclusivity where people feel like they belong, or how do I foster it, right? So how do I contribute, or how do I shape an environment where people feel like they belong? And then recognizing that belonging should be centered in how they see themselves getting or providing access to significance. And then lastly, people, most of us feel the need for physical, mental, spiritual, intellectual, psychological safety, right? So we can feel safe in being in relationships with people who understand our significance, right? So all too often we're after safety, significance, and belonging. And I really loved the show Columbo, because one of the things that Columbo was after in his show, and Peter Falk is the actor, right? And what Peter Falk was like after as this character Columbo was demonstrating or showing the motives, right? So what are your motives of in your leadership responsibilities, right? And so they really are rooted in safety, significance, and belonging. And the more we're able to articulate that, the more we're able to clarify that for ourselves, the more effective of a leader we will be, because we're all after these things. Now, here is the trick, particularly in DEI spaces, is that sometimes people will get um, this need for safety, significance, and belonging confused, right? So they'll see someone who they believe is the opposite of them, or is their that's what the kids call them, right? The ops. They see someone who is diametrically opposed, and what I would suggest is that oftentimes conflict occurs not because we're not after similar things, because I believe that we're after safety, significance, and belonging. Across so-called differences, but our methods and how we define those things are very different. And so if we can recognize that these definitions, these methods form the basis of obstacle illusions, artificial barriers to authentic human relationships, then we can become much more effective. And so we start to listen more when we recognize that people are looking for safety, significance, and belonging. So when someone approaches me in a way that's not as tactful as I typically would appreciate, if I'm in this mindset that I can question, what is it that this person is after, right? If I can put myself in the mindset to say that I'm not gonna just judge a person who seems to be prejudiced, but like, what is that prejudice? How is that serving them, right? How is someone who is, super woke? I don't know if that's a phrase or a term, right? But what is it that they are after? And I would say most often people are looking for safety, significance, and belonging. And so once I'm able to do that, then I'm actually able to start to be a facilitator to help them get what it is that what they need, right? And so when we help people get what they need, they will help us get what we need. And so this session, I just want to stop here and say thank you so much for joining us to have this conversation about, as leaders, what are some of the things that we need to think about? And I would say that we need to be clear about how do we get significance? What do we need from organizations to get significance? What is it? Secondly, what does it mean to belong? How do we get belonging? How do we foster belonging? How do we support belonging in our teams and for ourselves? And then what are we doing that creates a foundation where people can feel psychologically, spiritually, intellectually, and psychologically safe to be their best selves in our organization? So with that, we will see you in the next talk. This is Andre Koen. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.